My dad's like, if you want to win again, I can teach you how to win again. We've got to put the phone off. We've got to get that mindset back. Get rid of everything that's happened in the last couple of months. Speak to someone properly. Get your mind right. It's nothing to do with your ability. You're the man.
Let's dive into the session with none other than Chad Leclerc.
WhatsApp Chad 2084 000 947 to receive a link to watch or listen to this intimate discussion with Chad Leclerc.
The Frequency with Bolele on 947.
I've got someone so special that I will be in conversation with. Someone that just manages to get the best out of me. Someone that just manages to inspire a lot within me. And someone that just manages to command a room so beautifully, man. And I'm looking forward to being in conversation with her because there's just so much about her story that I think a lot of us will get to learn from. So I'm not going to reveal too much, but we're kicking off our Women's Month series. I've called it Her Frequency. And there's a great play on words here. More so when it comes to my guest and every other guest that I will be having in studio with me. And you'll understand why once we get into the conversations, and you'll understand it even a lot more better when we wrap up the conversation and I have just one question to ask my guests. All right? So I'm not going to give away too much. I need you to stick around because you're about to be moved. You're about to be mesmerized in some sort of way. And you're about to be engaged in a conversation that I think, for one, is going to be life-changing. Number two, that is going to be fun. And number three, is going to be a bit nostalgic. Because the person that joins me in studio today has been here before. But she's got quite the story to tell. All right, let's get the show on the road. I think I've said a lot.
947.
We haven't even started the conversation, but there's already mayhem in studio.
All right, here we go. Success is cool. Knowing what it took to get there, even better. Her Frequency with Bolele. Celebrating Women's Month on 947.
Yep. First round of Her Frequency right here on 947. And my guest tonight, man, is a woman of many qualities, right? We literally grew up watching her. She has spent almost 3 decades in broadcasting, from beginning her career as a child to television, radio, voice work, and becoming one of the most recognizable voices and faces in South African media. But what I find particularly interesting about Hulisani's story isn't simply longevity. It's the idea around evolution. She has navigated multiple parts of her journey right in front of our eyes. She's reclaimed her identity, experienced seasons of visibility and seasons of stillness, and continues to ask what it means to do work that carries purpose, power, and impact. So tonight, I don't just want to talk about the career, I want to talk about the woman the career has created and the woman who exists beyond it. Hulisani Ravele. Welcome to The Frequency.
Oh, wow! Thank you.
My gosh, there's so much for us to get into, right? There's so much for us to talk about. And I'm hoping that we'll get as much as we can in the time that we have, right?
We'll do our best.
Yesterday, I left studio and I pray a lot, right? And leaving studio, I was just like, God, I just want for this conversation to be what it needs to be. Not just for the people that are in studio, but for those that are going to be listening. I get into my car and I'm ready to jam hip-hop music, my sister.
You're getting off at 10 o'clock.
Of
Hip-hop will
course,
get you home.
Exactly. And I'm just trying to de-stress and all of that. No. My playlist automatically changes and it takes me to a gospel song. Yeah, Barorisi ba Morena, right? Mm-hmm. And the image that is attached to that song is of Bomeba Tapelo, women in the church.
Yes.
Draped in white regalia and blue attire as well.
Yeah.
And to see how you walked into studio today, I am just like, it's no coincidence that you are the one that is paving the way for these conversations
that I am dressed exactly the way the people on the song cover you saw yesterday? Yeah.
I am so shook. I am so shook.
That's what alignment looks like.
And it's done a lot for the journey that I am currently walking, but it's not about me today, right? We're here to really just, put a spotlight on the woman that you are. You are such a powerhouse. Almost 30 years in the industry. You inspired a lot of us to hold the positions that we hold today. We literally were the people that were like, because of Hulisani, I want to be on your TV. Or I want to be in the media industry, right? Yeah. And to have walked a journey that has inspired so many people, to have walked a journey that has, paved the way for a lot of people, I would think carries great responsibility, right? And I know you have recognized the responsibility that you carry. Sure. But there came a point in your career where you had then decided that I'm pausing a bit.
Was it my decision, really?
And that's what I want us to get into, right? Because I think there's great confusion around that decision.
Why I left.
Yeah. And because this is the first time that the 947 audience hears from you since then, I think it's the perfect place for us to start.
2023.
My goodness, Hulisani.
My last day on 947 was the 30th of September, 2023. It was a Saturday. And I sat where you are sitting right now and delivered my last link. And I remember hanging up my headphones and just bursting into tears. I cried. I wailed. And it is because it really wasn't my decision.
Talk to us about why you say it was not your decision when generally you the one that came here, you tendered your resignation, you told us that you were going.
I did.
And today you are saying it was not your decision. What do you mean, ma'am?
Okay.
Yes.
So for those that have followed my journey off the air and have seen where life has taken me, let me bring those that have not followed the journey up to speed.
Sure.
So I had a spiritual calling upon my life. And when I left 947, it was because my spiritual guides had said to me, in various ways, dreams, whichever other way they used to communicate with me. And they had said, this is the time that we would like you to take away from your career because there are things that we would like to teach you on our side. There are things that we want you to undergo. And you got to go. That's that. When I say it was not my decision, let me say I made the choice. It was not brought to me by me. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense.
So it was a calling upon my life and upon that time in my life to say, step away from this. We know it's all you've ever known. And trust God and trust us that we will carry you through this season of stillness where there are things that we want you to learn about your ancestry, about the spiritual gifts you possess, about things away from the limelight and the media. And trust us when we say, one, we will carry you. Two, you will understand the why. And so when I tendered my resignation in July of 2023, I walked in to this building dressed as I am today. I walked in wearing a white dress. I had a blue blanket over my shoulders. I was wearing navy high heel stilettos. I was wearing a white doek on my head. And that day I remember I was carrying a yellow handbag. I walked into this building. I went up to see our group chairman at the time. I went up to see our CEO at the time. And I said, I've just come to notify you as Baholo of this building and this space that I will be submitting my resignation. Nobody has done anything to me. I am not going anywhere. And that is what people didn't believe the most. When I said, I am not going anywhere, they said, no, which other station are you going to? And I said, no.
Sure.
I'm literally going to sit at home. I'm going to finish the commitments that I had, which were either campaigns or emceeing gigs. And I sat at home. I sat in my house for 3 months doing nothing every single day. Every single day I sat in silence and just listened and listened and listened. That's it.
What were some of the things that you were hearing in your time of listening?
Trust yourself. Trust yourself. It was, the thing is, right, about when my spiritual journey started, a lot of famous people were going through it as well. And it was not getting, in a light way, it was not getting the best PR
At all.
at the time.
At all,
right?
yeah.
And so there was a time that I even doubted that I had a spiritual gift myself, because I was like, it's feeling like a celebrity thing now. What's happening? And I was being lumped in with that lot, right? And it was making me doubt that I have this thing. The other part is I come from a family that doesn't do any African spirituality. We grew up in the church.
Sure.
So now for you to be the first, that's like, the underground gang is saying, they're like, excuse me, what? I was called all sorts of things. I have family to this day that have disowned me.
Sure.
I have been demonized, villainized. There is nothing that I have not gone through that you see the woman standing here today being so sure of who she is, and what she is. I'm not defined by anybody else, for anything else, for anyone. Like, I know who I am more than I did when I left here. And because I had been in an industry and a career that can define you and does define you, right? I thought this is all I was called to be, just to be a broadcaster. And my people said, no.
There's more.
And one of the things they said to me in the silence was this. I remember sitting and writing a letter to myself, but it was them talking to me.
Yes.
And I know it sounds so weird. Somebody's probably on the radio now
It's
saying,
almost like, is she crazy? What's she on about?
This hullabaloo, this what do they call this woo-woo stuff? My dear, I'm so sorry. Change station if it's not working for you. But I literally sat and I was writing, and the message that came was, you're in the right field of work.
Okay.
We just want to plug you into the right channel
Okay.
of your being.
Okay.
So now I understand the platform I've been given. I understand the voice that I've been given. I get why I had to leave all of it so I could remember. I was not rediscovering. I was remembering who I really am and what I am called to do within the industry.
What does plugging into the right channel look like, right? Because from what we've observed,
Yes.
you've been doing all the right things. From what we've observed, it's just like, oh no, man, like she's really doing the right things, right?
Ma'am.
You've inspired us. You've shared your story. You've literally walked your journey as authentically as you possibly can, right? So when you're saying you're plugging into the right frequency, let's say, right?
Yes.
What does that look like, and what changes in you that might not have existed or that you might not have recognized while still on the journey?
The change was plugging into the frequency that did not need validation from anybody else.
Okay.
And validation not from praise, but validation from, you are this.
Okay.
Let me break it down. So often we will work for a place, or we will be in a space, and we will think that all that we are is because of the place. And it's like, no, you're the magic. You're the light. You are the prize. ma'am.
Yes.
You are the prize.
Yes.
And when you find yourself, especially in an industry that we're in, where one day you're up, one day you're down, you get defined by so much around you. You get defined by, do you have an award, don't you? You get defined by what show you're doing, what show aren't you doing? Yet you know you're good enough to be doing any show.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yes, I was walking the journey and I was doing all the right things, but I was not doing it with a sureness of, I don't need any of this. I can still be me without any of this. I can walk away from all of this and still find the truest me and still be as celebrated, as loved, as amazing, as talented, and not to say...
And so much further than what you were initially.
Accurate.
Yeah.
So that's what it looked like. It looked like I can move without your permission. I remember sitting in a mentorship session with someone, and they said to me, the problem with radio presenters is that you guys wait for a schedule to tell you where you're going to fit in and what you're going to do next. You wait for a decision to be made for you about what your next career move is going to be. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, yeah.
That is very true.
I was like, yeah, no, this var, man, this var. And it's just those many things that start taking shape in you, where you move, Bolele, because you trust yourself. You trust yourself, you trust your guides, and you trust your God. No matter what they say you must do. And that's what changed. Because Years ago, I would have never made that move. I would have said, I don't have money. I didn't have money. Ma'am, when I left 947, my account was on minus something. I had debt. I didn't have work lined up. And yet here I am.
Thriving.
5-2 debt free.
Oh my gosh.
5-2.
I want us to help make sense of your lived experience, right? Because there's the spiritual aspect of things, right? Which is ultimately what you have submitted to, which is ultimately what is grounding you, right? And then there is the physical aspect of things, which for a person walking your journey, it is guided by what happens spiritually.
Yes.
But the navigation of it can be very tricky.
It's meant to be.
And I need you to help us understand this, right? Because your spiritual experiences to a layman can sound like,
woohoo,
you are crazy. Right?
Like right now.
What is she saying? Like, is it,
Yeah.
But the results of what then comes physically after what you have managed to submit to, believe in, and ground yourself in, really,
it makes you believe.
it makes a
that I'm
person
not
believe,
crazy.
right? But I want us then to get to a point where you help us understand the navigation of the two, right? You show up in the spiritual aspect, and you also show up in the physical aspect.
Accurate.
Are we saying, and I know the answer, but I want people to understand. Are we saying that you have to separate the two, or how does the one influence the other in a way that still makes sense enough for another person to believe in what you are doing, or to believe in what their journey ought to look like?
Can I say it in one sentence?
Please
and I
do.
hope it'll make sense.
Please do.
We're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. And so when you get to the point when you remember, and that's why I said I wasn't rediscovering who I am. I was remembering who I am before the world told me who to be. Think about when you're a child and how fearless you are. How a child can ride a bicycle and fall, and depending on whether you're looking or not, they get back up.
Yes, and
then
they keep
riding
going.
again.
Yes.
Remember that freedom and ask yourself, when did you stop? When did you start now analyzing, can I do this? Can't I do this? Why can't I? When did you start fearing to try things? When did you start measuring yourself up to, am I an A student, a B student, a C student? They say I'm not good at maths, but I feel like I'm good at sport. When did you start going for the honors blazer? When did you start going for the breakfast show? When did you start going? When did all of that become the thing?
Sure.
And the moment you undo all of that is where you get to the frequency I'm at now, where I'm okay no matter which way things go. Because
And
I
you
know
don't depend on anything or
I
anyone
don't.
else. Yeah.
And it's not to say I don't need people. It's to say that I trust the direction of my compass.
Okay.
So when Bolele says, Hulisani, let's go and have lunch. If my spirit says, no, I'm
you're not going. Okay.
And I'm not going to explain to you
Why?
Why.
It's your decision, and
Right?
it needs to make sense for you.
But also, if you're at the right level, you're a person that's also not going to take offense from that.
Sure.
Because you understand that I'm in my frequency, you are in your frequency,
Sure.
you're in the space that you need to be in. But we are so held by the money. We are so held by the positions we hold. And I get it. You've got kids. You've got families. You are stuck in a job you hate because you have to provide. And I'm just fortunate enough that my spiritual journey clicked in at a time when it said, you can go and find you for yourself.
and you'll be okay.
Now imagine the things that I can birth, including children, in that space.
Whew, power. Okay. There's something that you said when we started our conversation that I think is very important for us to also then continue to understand this journey, right? There are two different sides to the journey.
Okay.
The one that you had said earlier on that, okay, no, it wasn't painted in a good light. Really not great PR.
When everybody was burning their things.
Yes, and it was like, hey,
People
stop
were burning
doing
their
this.
regalia. People were saying ancestors are evil. Yes, let's call it. No, I just, it's important for us to
And I want us to
say
be
what was
clear,
happening.
right?
Yes.
Because there are people that have had experiences where that was their reality.
Yes.
Right? Where they did go through the fire that didn't birth any good in them afterwards.
For sure.
Where people still go and do certain things that they believe are right, but they are causing harm to other people, right?
Yeah.
And for a person that is walking your journey as purely as you are walking it, as honestly as you are walking it, from the perspective of a person that has walked the other side of it, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
What you're doing has no place here, because what we need to subscribe to is what makes sense and what we have been told we need to subscribe to, right? How do you differentiate the dark from the light? Because there comes a point, and I'll say this is the first time I ever speak about this. I've walked the journey, right, where I found myself in the dark. And the things that people get told to do when walking that journey, for some to not even realize and recognize that, no,
This is wrong.
this is wrong. What needs to exist within a person for them to have that realization that this is not it?
Honestly, we don't trust our inner voice. Because, and I say this as a person who also ended up in wrong places. And I didn't end up there because I was not meant to be there. So in my case, it was the wrong person, but there was a mission I was sent there to do. There was
Okay.
someone I had to help.
Okay.
And I did.
Okay.
And they got out.
Okay.
But in my journey, it looks like I went to the wrong person.
Okay.
Are you understanding?
When did you recognize that? When you then
I
came
saw it
back?
in my dreams while
Okay.
I was still there.
Okay.
But I knew what to do still within the situation. And I'll just put it out plainly, right? There was a Gobela, your spiritual guide, who is in the flesh, right?
Yes.
And they were doing mischievous things. And here's what happens. The moment the first dream comes, or the second dream, or the third dream, we are still trusting the human flesh that is standing in front of you saying, you must not do this, but your spirit is telling you,
Get out.
Get out.
But what if you're not dreaming, Hulisani? What if before you can recognize what is happening, that Gobela did something to you and you are not dreaming?
There's a part of you that always knew. And I'm not saying that it is a part of you that forced you to stay.
Sure.
You didn't trust it enough. And that's what the spiritual journey is about. Before it is about the clothes and the what, it is about trusting your inner voice to do that which you are being called to do, even when it looks weird to the next person. Even when the teacher is saying to you, this is what you must do. You have to trust the 2% in you that says, something doesn't feel right here. And because we grow up in a society where whatever the adult says goes, whatever my teacher says goes,
you honor,
whatever an elder says
submit.
goes. And the journey is about teaching you to trust yourself. And so even when things go wrong, it is that 1% that said to you, leave, and you didn't leave. And it doesn't become punishment. It becomes a lesson of trusting yourself faster. So for me, I've gotten my fingers burnt with things like, you're not meant to go there. Where are you going?
And you still
then
go
you're like,
and you come back
"No."
and realize.
Right? And here's one of the things that, remember you asked me earlier about what was the silence saying to me?
Yes.
One of the things it was saying to me, and I remember writing it down, was stop trying to look for a reference point for your journey. You're not going to find one.
Because it's yours.
Yes.
Yes.
And what we tend to do in any journey in life, because I'm trying to be Bolele, I try and now squeeze myself in whichever way and whatever it is that she is doing. And it's like, that is not your path. That is not your journey. You will never, let me say this very clearly, you will never have the anointing of the person next to you. Never. Never.
Because it's yours.
Which is why you can get to the highest stages and they can clap for you the biggest hands. But when this individual walks in and you ask yourself, what is it about that person? It's that thing that you go to every corner. It's that thing that you go and try and buy from every place that you will never have. You will never have. Limtshela fact, literally, you're never going to have it. Because why? It was not meant to be yours. And what happens when you see people walking in their light, when you see people who, surprisingly, someone said to me, I ask myself, how are you this happy but you've left radio? When you meet
Before you
people
answer
like
that,
that,
You already
those
know.
things.
You already know.
Because you are being obedient to the inside thing that's calling you. Not the money in this building.
Yes.
Not the title that could come to me in this building. I could come back to radio tomorrow if I wanted.
Sure.
Akbatle.
Sure. Okay.
It's not where I am called to be. And I'm being obedient to that. Whereas my flesh would have said, no, to have an illustrious career, you've got to work here.
I love that you said that, because that's what I want to come back with, right? Hulisani Ravele is here. And as you can tell, there's very little that I'm going to say. Hey, there's very little that I'm going to say here. And yes, because she's here to tell her story, we are going to give her the space. We're going to give her the room to tell her story.
947.
You know, if there's one thing that I realized very quickly after putting out the post that you're going to be here, is that all I need to do is be present and submit to the process.
I'm sure even the questions you planned are out the window.
No, like, I'm looking at them and I'm just like, oh, well, I don't think I'll need those anymore, because the conversation is what it needs to be for this occasion, right?
And that's what being led looks like.
Absolutely.
In different areas of our lives, not just for people that are broadcasters. In whatever it is that you do, you are always being led by this inner knowing. But it is the world that just defines us and puts us into these, yes, no, can't do that. And that is what is making us so ill as people. You're fighting against your truest nature.
Your truest
and
nature,
self.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a lot of people that want your attention. I'm just here to push buttons and give people their space. Okay. Pilani, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you doing, ladies?
Fantastic.
Yes.
Hulisani is here. You can ask your question.
Hi, Hulisani.
Hi,
I'm trying my best
Pilani.
not to say CC.
You are
I'm
old.
really trying.
If you want to call me Sisi, you are old.
Keep it on a roll and out of control.
Yep. Now,
Sorry, I had to go there.
in Tanga zethu.
They've entered the chat. Pilani, go ahead with your question.
So I just wanted to ask you, during your time of solitude, how long did it take for your inner voice to be louder than the external voices that tend to happen, especially when you're alone and your mind kind of races and did I make the right decision? Am I sure about this? What am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills?
Yep. Pilani, I think it took me about 3-4 months. So I left 947 September. October, I kind of like wrapped up my life, all the talks and things that had to happen. Then from November, December, Jan, I was one man. I didn't go to Venda with my family. I remember there was a time I changed numbers. So I went offline. I was off WhatsApp. I was off everything. And I remember there was a day when my sister even arrived at my house because I was not answering phone calls. I was not, that is how much stillness I craved. And she knocked on the door and she said, what you're doing is not okay. Like for you to, we get you need to be in your silence, but for you to not even reach out. And I didn't even open the door for her. I looked at her through the window and I said, okay, you saw me. Thank you. Bye. And that sounds so cold, right? And the thing is about going through a journey like this is that you need to be stripped away from everything and everyone because we are people pleasers. As much as you'll find in today's world, there are those that say, hey, this one's a people pleaser, this one's an avoidant, this one is a what, this one. At the base of it all, most of us are people pleasers. We do the things that we do because we want approval from other people and we want agreement from other people, right? And so when you are being called to a stillness where the person that you trust most above all else is you, your God, and your guides, that Trinity, the original Trinity of you, your guides, yourself. Until you can do that, you're going to sit in silence. And here's the thing I'll tell you, Pilani. You can't fool your guides. You can't fool God. So you can't go into that silence and say to yourself, no, I'm ready. They'll tell you when you're ready. They'll tell you when you are ready. And during the silence, you unpack and it gets dirty and it gets messy because you start understanding, wait a minute, why am I like this? Why do I like this approval. Okay, which parent did I like attention from the most when I was younger? Why did I want attention from that parent? Like, it's a lot of uncovering things and asking yourself questions and not being scared to go there and do that work. Having to understand, why is my mom the way that she is? And why does that make me the way that I am? Because now I can move from a place of, you can't tell me nothing. I know myself. I know myself so fully, so wholly. But above all else, I trust myself. I trust myself to the point where when they said jump, I said, okay, guys, you will provide. And I'm not saying there weren't months when things weren't hard. I had to rely on other people helping me. I had to go into debt. I had to refinance my house.
Sure.
And that is the test. Can you let go of things of the world and still stand in your light and still feel whole and full? When those things have been taken away, I can tell you now, there are people that can be taken off air tomorrow and everything around them will crumble. Every single thing. Who they are, who people think they are, what they think they are to other people, the power they have amassed, all of it will crumble. All of it. Because it is all standing on something that is not true. Does that make sense?
Something that is not real. Yes.
So you have to go and sit in that silence, Philani. It is ugly. It is messy. It is not nice. But babe, let me tell you, on the other side,
glory.
We are living out here, baby.
We are living and we are loving.
We are loving. And let me tell you what, Philani, we're living and we're loving kaneti, with truth. With truth. We're not standing on quicksand. We're not standing on someone's affirmation and confirmation that if you don't work here, you'll have nothing. Sorry. Like I said, I'm still standing. Stronger than I was.
Indeed you are.
Before. Because why? I'm not standing on man's word. I'm not standing on man's promises. I'm not standing on man's, hey, this is what defines you. No. I'm standing.
You're not standing on an illusion.
I'm standing on me, my guides, and my God. That is it. That is my Trinity. What your Trinity is irrelevant to me.
Wow, that's so
I know
beautiful.
my
Thank
truth.
you so
I
much.
know my truth, and I can stand in it. And I'm not going to debate with you about it. Because again, that's also part of the test. When we keep trying to convince people that my way is right, why are you trying to convince me? Are we at a Tupperware gathering? What are we doing? Why can't you believe what you believe and I believe what I believe? And as long as I'm not bringing harm to you, I'm not causing, I'm not infringing on any of your constitutional rights, what is your problem? And a lot of us struggle with that switch of, can I trust what I am being called to stand in and believe in? Or am I going to follow everybody? It's not for everybody, that one.
Philani, I'm going to let you go and you'll listen on the radio now because Hulisani is never going to finish here.
Philani, I didn't mean to chica you. You know, guys, I'm a dual.
You are passionate.
No, I'm also a group project. In my defense, I'm a group project. So sometimes when I'm talking, it's not me.
Thank you so much for the call,
Because that's why
Philani.
Philani called.
Thank you so much.
Philani is scared to sit in the silence. Philani is scared to sit in that space where everybody else is saying, but Philani, what you're doing is wrong. Philani, what do you think is right?
Sure.
Remember that 1% I was talking about just now? Where an elder says, go this way, but there's a 1% in you that's saying, but I know. The test is, can you listen? Can you hear the 1%? Can you trust the 1%? Can you follow the 1%? Because many of us hear it. Many of us fail to do the last two
To
steps.
follow, yeah. There's your guidance coming through from Hulisani, Philani.
Oh, thank you so much. I so needed that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do believe it's a group project because you said everything.
Is that why you called? I answered what? You didn't even ask me the question, but I answered what you called for.
Yes, you actually did.
You are most
Okay,
welcome.
Shapilani. We've got another call. Level, my girl. Look, Hulisani talks. So let's get to the point and then she can answer your
I'll
question.
try and keep it short.
Okay, I'll also do my best on my side. Hi, Hulisani.
Hi,
Bulele.
Lebo.
Okay, so sure, I have so many, like it's a layered question, but I've always been a curious person and I've stumbled upon a lot of people who often speak about frequency as like a bad thing whenever that is mentioned or guides and everything. And I've always had a problem with that because I don't take things at face value. And I think that's why I am where I am right now. So I just wanted to ask you, right, with regards to craving the stillness, did you get to a point in your life where you felt like, I really want them to come to me, or is it something that just happened? Because in many ways than one, I relate so much to your story in a sense that in my family, I'm the first one. And for some reason, I'm leaning more towards what you currently described happening in your life than anything that's traditional, like that I don't understand. And I've always also just struggled with dreams and whatnot, but I often find myself asking. So I just wanted to find out if you've craved that stillness, but it was because you were really like wanting to kind of get to know self. Because how I got here is because I really want to just understand myself as a being. And I love what you said when you said we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I think that's where that comes from, because a lot of the things are a bit unsettling, and it's because of that. So I can go on. Sorry, I don't want to.
Well, one of this thing in life that we do when they say we ask for advice when we know what to do. You know what your spirit is calling you to do, but you want an outside person who seemingly has more experience than you to affirm it and confirm it for you. And that's not your fault, Lebo. The world has taught you that. Think about it. We apply for jobs. They tell you must have experience, and the people with more experience are the ones we trust, right? So the way the world works has conditioned your mind to also want that in your spiritual life. And in the spiritual life, it doesn't work like that. There's rank, yes. There is honor and respect that is given to those that have been doing things for longer, yes. But you have to trust you. The test is to trust you. So even if I can appear on a video and affirm something that you are feeling, feel it at the affirmation level. Don't need it on the human level that says, no, until she says it to my face, I won't believe it. Because that's where we get hurt. We ignore the sign. We ignore the small voice inside that says, and don't get me wrong, right? I was one of those people, and I still am. When my guides tell me something, I'm just like, guys, Nyingani, I'm a baby. Tell me 3 times. Right? But I will be like, okay, I think when Bolele fell, you were telling me maybe things are not going well for her. Okay, show me something else again. Then maybe I'll see Bolele doing something else. Do you get what I mean? You find the language in which you converse with them, right? And the other thing that the stillness was for is to get me off social media. Because what is happening now is that it's a beautiful thing that many of us are sharing our spiritual journeys on social media. But what that is doing is that we are all now chasing to conform to certain things. And then what happens is that when yours is not happening the way the TikTok you saw yesterday said it must happen, you doubt yourself. You doubt yourself and you start telling yourself, no, I definitely must not have this thing because it's not happening the way this person's thing is happening. Silence yourself. Get off social media. Get away from people who you're just not feeling them anymore. Trust yourself. I can't say that enough, because that is the ultimate test, guys. That is the ultimate test. To be able to stand in a decision, to be able to stand in a peace. When they say that surpasses all understanding, that is where I'm at. Where you can take this, you can take that, you can tell me this, but if my spirit says we're walking away from this deal, we're walking away from it. And you know what? I've even gotten to the point where in an email I'll say to you, my guide said this doesn't feel right, so I'm out. I don't need to explain it to you. You might think I'm crazy. That's good on you. That is not my responsibility. But that silence, the test is about, can you recognize them for yourself? Sometimes it's numbers. Sometimes it's songs. They find a way to communicate with you. And I can tell you now, I still have not seen my people like I'm looking at Bolele now. It's been I've been on a spiritual journey for over 8 years.
Wow.
But as Bolele said, by the fruits of the way my life is at right now,
You can see,
my darling, now my people are alive and kicking. My people are alive and kicking. I see them in my life. I see them in everything that I do. But I did not need to wait for someone to say, if you don't see them the way ubona inyama, the way you see a human being, it means they are not there. I trusted what they feel like to me. I trusted what, I can say to my people, hey guys, it's something. And they're legit.
And it will happen.
And that sounds so rude to say about your ancestors. The papas will dance. They will dance to your skingly because because you communicate with them, right? And one of the things I think one of the spiritual guides I had along the way was a medium, and she said to me, you're in relationship and in communion with your guides. It's not this thing of, hey, you must do this, hey, you must do that, you know? So it's important to always remind them, guys, I'm also in this human experience. So there are things that I also want, right? And you become in conversation. So I asked them to go back to school. I said, I want to go get my master's. This is where I want to go. And can I tell you what happened the first day of school when we were taking a picture? A bird pooped in my hair. Imagine, there are 30 of us sitting outside to take a group photo.
And it fetched you.
And the bird pooped on my head. That to me are my guides communicating to me and affirming me.
Got you.
I didn't have a permanent job. I can tell you now, I owe Gibbs no money. I've paid my master's fees. Every month I paid them. There were some months I was a little late. Marok Salayo. Do you get what I mean? Because of that sureness, Ngwanesu, you've got to trust that thing that tells you, leave your corporate job. I'm not saying leave your corporate job, but if that's what it's saying to you.
Lebo, I'm going to let you go, Ne, but I need you to listen on the radio because there's something I want to add to what she's saying. Yeah. Thank you so much for the call, Ne.
Thanks, Lebo. I hope that helps.
Thank you, my beautiful.
Bye-bye. Here's the thing, and I want us to be very clear on this part, right? The voice will say what it says.
Yes.
It tells you to either leave a relationship, a job, whatever it is that you need to let go of.
And
we are Puma, right? But it's almost as if you are expecting miraculous things to happen because you have just made the decision, without remembering that there's work that needs to be done on the other side of having made the decision that is going to then help unravel what needs to unfold in your life.
The reason you're expecting miracles after you've made a decision where they said to you, do this, is because you made the decision on a transactional basis. You said to yourself, if I leave this guy, you will give me this. It's not a transaction. I see transaction.
Okay.
How can you ATM card, can you pin, and then something comes out? And that is what I think most of us fail to understand in our
that
journeys.
You want something because you've been immediate in your decision.
And it's what I said earlier on. You cannot fool your guides and God, especially your guides of light. Let's also be very careful. Earlier on, you asked about how do you know when you've gone to the dark side? It's like the yin-yang sign. Is it a yin-yang? Yin-yang. Yeah. There is white in the black, and there's black in the white. In everything in life, there is a duality. Even there, where you are going on a Sunday, there is duality. Even there. There are good ones, there are bad ones. There are ones that are helping you, there are ones that are taking advantage of you. Even at work, there are good CEOs, bad CEOs. There are those... Duality exists everywhere. So let's get that out the way, right? When you go into something saying, yeah, okay, my guides, I'm going to leave, but then you must promise me you're going to give me X, Y, Z. And they said, no, we're actually asking you to leave so that you can start to listen to yourself.
And become who you ought to be.
Can you make that decision? A lot of us can't, because we make the decision based on what will you give me. Why? Because the world that you live in and the life that you live in is transactional. Everything is, okay, you're going to work here. What can you do for me? Oh, you want this show. What can you do for me? Do you see? Do you see? It doesn't work like that on the other side. And that's why I'm saying you cannot fool them. Bolele. A dark heart is a dark heart is a dark heart. I don't care how much makeup, what weave you do, monjaro you eat. There's nothing. There is nothing you can put on you to mask that. Movie. If their spirit is dark and ugly, it always will be. It is what it is.
I have to let you go.
Okay,
but
ma'am.
I have one more question, so let's do this.
947.
Man, you will plan, hey? You will plan and you will know what you want to ask a person. You will literally do all the research in the world. But at the end of the day, when the type of person that you have in studio is the type that Hulisani is, things just move as they should. And I believe that this conversation has been what it needed to be, not just for us, but for people that were listening as well. And the conversation doesn't end here. Hulisani has got a very powerful, a very important platform where she continues to speak about the things that she has spoken to us about this evening. Purpose, power, impact.
My baby.
Your baby. Your baby. And it's the reason why I was just like, hey, I need you to come in studio. We need to talk about this baby, right? Because birthing that baby was not easy.
It wasn't.
It came with its perils. I remember the first launch that you had anticipated did not, come to fruition.
When my developers went AWOL.
Tell us about that and what you have come to learn now in hindsight.
Yeah. Purpose, Power, Impact is a mantra that came to me in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So my dad died in 2012. And I remember one of the things I took from my dad's passing was how he died doing something he loved, right? And I've told the story often, but if you've never heard it before, my dad was a mechanic, he was a taxi owner, he was a carpenter. So he was a man that was always fixing things. And the day he died, he was under a car fixing it and the jack lost its balance.
Sure.
And the car fell on him and he later died from his injuries in hospital. And I remember being so struck by that and holding on to that I'd always had a dream of having a talk show.
Sure.
And I wrote in this book that, I want to make this talk show that has purposeful, powerful, impactful conversation. I want to have a talk show that challenges us, that celebrates us, that just helps us to think of life in a different way. And that's when the 3 words came. And I remember writing them first as purpose, impact, power. And then I even said, no, purpose, power, impact.
Sure.
Registered the trademark in that year. And let me connect dots for you about how spirit works very quickly.
Yeah.
I was at a corporate job when Purpose, Power, Impact came into my mind, the words. And they needed to do a transaction where they were helping a young black business. And my boss at the time said, hey, I've got 100K. Can I give it to you and your business? What do you want to do with it?
Sure.
And I was like, I want to register trademarks. And that's what I used most of the money to do.
Oh, wow.
Didn't ask for it. It came, landed on my lap. He got his ESD points. It worked for everybody. And those are trademarks I registered, 14 years ago? Now I have a platform called Purpose, Power, Impact Africa that never would have been birthed, let me tell you, had what not happened. I came back to this building at some point.
Yeah.
While I was on my sabbatical.
Okay.
Because I wanted my talk show to be on Prime Media, either on one of the stations or whatnot. And we had actually gotten quite far. We were having conversations and then things changed. And when things change, when people leave, everybody's like, hey, whoever promised you, we are not interested. And that was the turning point for me because I understood what my guides were saying to say, this will not live on anybody else's anything. This is yours.
So,
it is yours. It is ours. And you will have a standalone platform that we will help you build and you will grow it into what it is meant to be. It does not belong here. Do you understand how spirit works?
Because,
We are Eva. But had I not been obedient, Bolele, I would have forced to be like, this is where it needs to be. And that's why that silence is necessary because when you hear spirit speak to you, you move a lot faster. Your agility in understanding where you want to be and what you want to do, your reaction time is just that much faster. So the moment this fell through, I wasn't despondent. I wasn't at, I know I'm a brilliant broadcaster. Any radio station would be lucky to have me. They know it as well. It's not being pompous. It's not being cocky. It is standing in the sureness of the gift that I have as a broadcaster. And so when the platform didn't work out and my developers went AWOL, I cried many tears. I even cried on the socials.
Because forcing could have looked like putting it on a YouTube.
And that's what people said. People said, why don't you just put it on YouTube? And I was like, guys, the way this has been given to me in such a specific way.
That's not how it should
I cannot
roll
cut
out.
the corner of doing it like this. So I walked away from it for a few months. And then literally Jan this year, I jumped onto an AI platform. I started building it myself, prompt by prompt. Everything that you see on Purpose, Power, Impact Africa, I wrote in a prompt. I uploaded the content. I moved every piece of content where it needs to be.
That's awesome.
I connected every API integration. I know API keys. Listen here. And where did this come from? The digital experience that I had working at a digital agency that I didn't understand why I needed to work at that digital agency back then.
So everything
now
exists for a reason.
It. Exactly. And now I've gotten to a point in life where my experience in corporate as a project manager and in the digital world, my experience as a broadcaster, and my spiritual journey have all come together to live on Purpose Power Impact.Africa. And it has been amazing watching myself bloom, because I can tell you now, 3 years ago when I left here, I never thought that that's what I would do. I never believed that is what I would be able to birth. Never. Because I thought I needed this person, that person, I needed that. I never trusted in just how amazing every single part of me is and can work together to birth things that are for my good. And that is what Purpose Power Impact is about. It's about helping people to engage in conversations, watch me in conversation with people who have undiscovered parts of themselves, relearned, learned, dumped, gone to ugly places, so that you can have the courage to do it for yourself. This is not a group work.
Yeah.
We live in a group setting, but let me tell you, your path, your life, nobody can do that for you. And so if you're looking for a home that has content that will transform you and challenge you, the things you're going to see there are not always going to be pretty, but it holds up a mirror to say, if this person can, so can you. I am so proud of it. And we're building day by day, subscriber by subscriber, sign up by sign up. And one day, I know I will look back on it and say, wow.
Well done. It was worth it.
Good and faithful soldier.
Yeah.
You have run your race and you have run it well, because I was obedient to what I was being called to do, even when it looked crazy to others, even when they ridiculed me, even when they wrote about me and said whatever it is they wanted to say, even when you discussed me in your WhatsApp groups, even when you looked down upon me when I walked past you, even in all those moments, I am standing today. I will continue to stand today, not in spite of you, but because the things that you said in private, God and my guides are going to bless me publicly.
Sure.
Publicly. And those are a front row seat for a ticket you didn't even buy. But it will be reserved for you so that you can see what the grace of Mudimu looks like and what the love of Badimu looks like.
How do people get onto the platform to continue to soak themselves into all of what you are sharing?
PurposePowerImpact.Africa. Just type that in. You can even save it on your home screen so that it functions like an app. Yeah, that's where we are. That's what I'm building. I remember making it onto the Destiny magazine cover in 2018, I think it was. That was my first magazine cover in my entire career. At that point, I'd already been in the business almost 20 years. And the headline that was written was creating a new kind of wealth.
Sure.
I have a blown up picture of that cover in my house. And every day I look at it, and every day I looked at it during my sabbatical when the silence got hard, when I didn't understand, when things didn't make sense, when I doubted, when I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I am creating a new kind of wealth.
Yeah.
And it's the wealth of well-being from the inside out.
Yeah.
Because I strongly believe that when you are a better individual, that is going to make you a better partner. That is going to make you a better mother. That is going to make you a better sibling. That is going to make you a better child. That is going to make you a better colleague. That is how we build better teams. That is how we build healthy corporate environments where people genuinely love being there and are well looked after. That is how we're going to build a nation that is well. But if the individuals are not well, keep processing your salaries every month, because that's all you're doing.
To close off this conversation, Hulisani.
Angil.
Over and above every single thing that you are doing, from you doing your MBA to you doing the best MC, corporate MC around.
Premium, please. I'm a premium corporate MC.
Premium.
The word premium is very important.
Premium, please.
Don't come with your 2 rand.
And being the vessel that is just sharing their journey authentically and having it impact other people in your space, in your solitude, in your being. what would you say the frequency that you are operating on is?
It's a song. When I left here, I said, I'm stepping into the silence because my spirit is singing a new song and I need to pause to learn its melody. I've learned its melody. And if I had to put that song into a song everyone knows right now, Zoe Mudicha, We Are Kazimul.
Oh, my favorite song.
That's where I'm at.
My favorite song.
My frequency right now, I'm there. I am prayed for. I am prayed over. I am loved. I am guided. I am sure. I am walking in a level where, Yazin, touch me at your own risk. If you're going to bring me goodness, that goodness will be amplified. If uzong telela, you're either going to eat dust or be buried in the dust. It's your choice. My people don't play about me, and I don't play about them. And that's the frequency that I'm on. That's the frequency that I'm on. Don't come for me if I didn't call for you.
And that is where we will leave it.
No filters, no highlight reel. Just one real conversation with Hulisani Ravele. Her frequency with Bolele on 947.